Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get started in just a minute. If you can please grab whatever you'd like to eat or drink and grab a seat. We'll get started in just a minute. If you can hear me in the back of the room, please raise your hand. If you can hear me in the back of the room, please raise your hand. Okay, please grab whatever you'd like to eat or drink. Come grab a seat or stand up in the back, and we'll get started in just a second. Thank you. There are seats up in the front if you'd like to come grab a seat. Okay, you ready to get started? I know sometimes it's a little hard to hear in here. Is this all right? You good? Feeling all right? Kind of loose? Had a little drink? Had a little eat? You all right? Good. Okay, well, welcome everybody. It's amazing how it just turns into a library like that, isn't it? All right. Welcome to New Tech Seattle! And that's so much better, isn't it? But I know you have more in you, so let's do it again. Welcome to New Tech Seattle! Okay, that's good. It's Tuesday. It's after a holiday weekend. So first off, lots of beautiful people here. So before we do anything else, I want you to all stand up for just 1 second and give me a smile, wave your hands in the air, and go, woo! So I can get an amazing picture of all these beautiful people. Okay, so how many of you have been here before? Okay, good number. How many of you are brand new? Very good number, thank you. So new folks, this is not good enough. There's more in you. I know there's more in you, and there's more in the room, and we're here to have a good time. So one more time, I want to hear you go, woo! Okay, does that feel better? Okay, now you're going like, no, fuck this guy. This is what we're about. So you're new here. You might not understand exactly what we always do. New Tech Northwest has been around for 7 years, and we're an event, but really this is what we're about. So we're a community. What that means is we have 44,000 members. We grow by about 500 a month, and the deal is if you join our meetup group, you come to an event, you sign up for anything, you're a member. And all that means is that we're here with an attitude of gratitude. We're here to help each other out. So it's not about Seattle or East Side. It's not about black or white, male or female, or even tech or not tech. It's cool, interesting people who want to meet more quality people interested in innovation. And that's what you're here to do, and that's who we are. And if you like that, please say, hell yeah. This will be a good night. And we don't just say that on diversity in tech. We've been doing this for 7 years now. If you have, raise your hand if you have friends. Okay, the rest of you will talk at the end of the night. So if you have friends and they might want to go look at YouTube and see some of the awesome presenters we have tonight, You can send them to YouTube and just say, search for New Tech Seattle, and you will. Oh, we're doing Facebook and YouTube? Wow, so much tech. Wow, thank you, Jack. All right, so Facebook, our Facebook page, or go to YouTube. Here are our presenters this evening. They have some similar but different backgrounds, from nonprofit to for-profit, cool different companies. They will be coming up shortly, and you will learn more from them when we get there. First, we want to thank our team of volunteers and other people here, so please. Sponsors, and we're very grateful to them. This doesn't happen without our sponsors. And some of them are going to come up for a minute, tell you about the cool things they do. Some of them will throw some free stuff at you. Do you like free stuff? You will like this then. This is good. If you are a sponsor, please come up by the TV screen over here so that we can rotate pretty quick so you don't have to walk through everything. And we will kick it off with Nintendo. Nintendo is our title sponsor for an entire year. They're sponsoring all of our monthly events, our job fairs, and everything that we do. We're grateful to them, and they're a very cool company, and I will let them tell you more about what they're up to and what they're doing. You ready? Come on. Thanks, Kate.
Yeah, thank you. Do I click this?
On the right, yeah.
Okay, great. Hi, guys. Brett, thank you so much. Thanks for having us. We're so excited to be here supporting diversity in tech. Who is a fan of Nintendo? Let's hear a little bit louder. Who's a fan of Nintendo? They appreciate that. Well, I'm Kate. I am here as a part of our talent acquisition team, and I will have the rest of the team introduce themselves.
So I'm Jennifer Villar, the manager of the network team, so wireless, LANs, WANs, that sort of thing.
Hi, Anju Krishnamurthy. I'm manager for programmers and analysts in Nintendo.
And I'm Fernando Silva, and I'm a lead software engineer in Nintendo Technology Development, and I lead the GPU Tools team. And Nintendo is one of the most recognized brands in the gaming and entertainment industries. And we're one of the oldest too. Nintendo is in fact over 130 years old. And does anybody of you know which one's one of our first products? Cards, yes, there you go. Which Andrew will talk about. It's going to be awesome. You'll hear. Oh, see, they gave me the wrong one. I hope people could hear me on the back, because that was sad. But yeah. But Andrew will give you the awesome place, the awesome mission about us. And but before that, remember, we're local. We're in Redmond, Washington. People don't know it. People are like, oh, you're in Japan? Yes, there's an office in Japan, and probably the biggest one. But we are in Redmond, and we're always hiring.
So our mission basically is to bring smiles on people's faces. That's what we strive for, and also delivering this wow experience, like people will be amazed by it. We are also striving to build in a good work culture that encourages a lot of creativity and bringing the best in you. Right?
So we are here to support diversity in tech, and we are excited to let you know that we are hiring. We have non-technical and technical roles both. So come on by and stop by our booth and just ask questions, and we'll glad to tell you as much as we can and show you where our website is to look for what's all the details of what we're offering. And basically, all characters are welcome. So please join us in putting smiles on millions of people's faces all across the world.
Thank you for being our fans. We love you all.
Thank you. Round of applause for thinkspace. That's where you are right now. It's our venue partner. If you didn't notice, so this is something I never heard of before, but I guess it's been going on for, I don't know, years and years and years. Right outside, that's called duck dodge. So apparently all through the spring and summer, every Tuesday night, these boats go out, and I guess they just drink beer, get on sailboats, and try not to hit ducks. But for us, with this view, it's pretty awesome and great. So make sure you get a chance to go out on the deck and enjoy that while you're here too. Get Around has been a sponsor of ours for quite a while now.
Hi, guys. So I'm here with Get Around. Basically, we are a peer-to-peer car share, kind of like Airbnb, but for your car. So if you have a car in Seattle that you don't use very often, you can put it on Get Around and rent it out to other people. It's all based on your availability, make some extra money. We have some guaranteed earnings going on right now, so if you're interested, come talk to us. We're also giving away free credit, so if you want to rent a car, if you ever need one when you're traveling, or you don't have a car in the city, or you're just using a car to move or whatnot, you can rent trucks, vans, all sorts of different types of cars. We cover all insurance also for owners, and we're also raffling off a growler. What is it? It's a carbonated growler thing, so it's pressurized. Yeah, a pressurized growler. If you guys want, come back, and all you have to do is redeem a coupon with us or get some more information about Get Around, and you'll be entered in that raffle. And we'll be announcing the winner tonight at the end of the event. So stick around.
Thank you. Joe, you coming up?
She gave me slides. Hi, everybody. Oh, going too fast. So, hey, I'm Joe. I'm from One Piece Work. We're a new co-working space here in town. We're downtown Seattle on 3rd and Columbia. We like to walk the line between an incubator and a co-working space, so we like to get companies up and running. So we do this through networking and education forums. So if you've ever used Lime Bikes, you've used one of our products. Lime Bikes started down in Palo Alto out of our location, but 4 little guys on desks and got up and running, and now we have Lime Bike today. So for bike riders, you're welcome. For car drivers, we're sorry. So I was given a couple slides to show you guys our new location. This is our 11th floor, and we're just got finished developing our 19th floor for big teams. So we're able to help you all the way through your very first startup, where you're able to get your first little hot desk, all the way up to big companies like Lime Bike. So I guess that's what I was given. So anyways, I got a couple umbrellas to give away. Who wants an umbrella?
I do.
You do? It's about to rain?
Yes.
Since 2 people raised their hand for me? Oh. Excuse me. There we go. So thank you all. Please swing by our locations. We do all sorts of events. We do 20 different events a month. And this month we're doing female CEOs in tech.
Thank you, Joe. Our next sponsor is Metis.
Hey, so I'm an instructor at Metis. We're a data science boot camp. The whole idea, we're really a data science education company. One of our big products is a boot camp. It's a 3-month coding boot camp to get you started on a career in data science. We include awesome career team that does job placement super, super well. We also have corporate training and some online training as well. I don't have anything free to give you, but I'm here today because we're just put together and just announced our full scholarship for women in tech. And this includes, we're sort of building that into an umbrella. So this includes women, trans folks, non-binary folks. So if you fit into that umbrella, we've got a scholarship waiting for you. The deadline to apply is July 29th. So if you're interested, we've got a location here in Seattle, like not too far. I ran by here this morning before work. We also have locations in New York and Chicago and San Francisco if you're interested in that as well.
Thank you, Sophie. Nick?
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Nick. I run an organization called C City, and we are out promoting civic engagement. So you may not know this, but in Seattle, Right now, there are 7 open council seats. There are only 3 incumbents running, and there are 56 candidates running for those 7 seats. So if you didn't know that, and you live here, first, you should know that. If that confuses you, if any of those words don't make sense to you, what I just said, that's why we're here. We're here to help you cut through that and understand what's going on in local politics and local community. Right now, we are asking people to take a pledge to vote. It's super simple. There's QR codes back there on our table or a little pamphlet thing that you can hit the URL. You simply put in your information, and all you get are a couple of cool reminders. We'll serve up some cool tools, something that Democracy Lab has put together with the Muni League, and we're going to have a candidate for them later in September. So if you don't live in Seattle, you are also still invited to participate because King County Council is also getting elected this year. And so we're going to be serving up information that's already in existence. We aren't creating new stuff. We're just trying to package it for tech. We want tech to show up this year in our city. So come join us. We're super excited about it. The end.
Thank you. Finally, we do a lot of things with United Way. They're not actually able to be here tonight, but if you've probably heard of them. But they are a great umbrella organization that not only does great work with homelessness and other issues in the city, but they also give a lot of their money to other organizations to do things like that. So we like to support them and connect you to things they're doing. So if you come to our events, part of our unwritten guarantee with you guys is, the bottom line is when you come in here, I don't care if you're here or you're here, we want you to walk out higher. We want you to walk out feeling better, going hour, 2 hours of my time, whatever it was, glad I did that. Had some good drinks, food, met some good people, learned about some cool tech or some good, interesting things tips I can take into my workplace to make it better tomorrow. And we do what we can to proactively make that happen. So right now, this is kind of the community section of what we do. So there's a couple pieces to this. The first thing is if you have a phone, raise your hand if you have a phone. Okay, a few more people than had friends, so we're getting better. That's good. All right, so if you have a phone, take it out. When's the last time you heard somebody on a microphone tell you to take out your phone? We also want you to have fun while you're here. So take out your phone, open the LinkedIn app, or if you don't have it, download the LinkedIn app. It's free. So LinkedIn has this tool that we've been sharing this for about, 9 months. So now more people are learning about it, but a lot of people don't even realize this is there. So this is a really cool thing, but it only works in real time. So we're going to do this for about 2 minutes, and then it's going to be gone. So open up LinkedIn, and at the bottom, you see the little 2 heads. Hit the 2 heads, and then at the top in the middle, hit Find Nearby. So if you hit Find Nearby, that means people in this room can find you on LinkedIn. And this is an easy way to connect with more people. So worst case scenario, you came here tonight, you're going to walk out with, 10, 20, 30 more LinkedIn connections. So this is good in a few ways. One is obviously you can make more connections to connect with more people in the city to help you with your tech career or your tech company. Also, for tonight, you can see some of these people's faces, see their titles, get an idea of what they do. So if they might be good or interesting people for you to know, then you will actually be able to notice that now. And ideally, once the show's over, you will be able to look for their face and go up and say hi and get to know them. And if for some reason you aren't able to do that, then you still will have been able to click the little button next to their LinkedIn profile and connect with them. So there's somebody that you can send a message to in the future to reach out if there's someone that you can help or somebody that you think would be good to help you. And a big part of the community aspect of what we do is we're here to give first and see what we can do to help each other out. So we'll do this for maybe another 30 seconds. If you want to have that on, as soon as you click off of the Find Nearby page, then you're not on there anymore. You won't see those people, and they won't see you. So it's a real-time, quick thing. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So we're here in person, which is really hard sometimes to get people to come out and do things. So we also want you to meet the cool people who are in the room. We've been doing diversity in tech and women in tech events for almost 7 years now. And I think this is our 11th diversity in tech event. And I got to say, we get actually the most interesting and quality people at these events. So this is a really good opportunity for you, and we don't want you to miss out on it. So now take your phone or whatever you have, put it down. We want you to stand up and find 2 faces of people who you do not know. Do not shake their hand. High five that person and say, what are you up to and how can I help? And connect with a couple of cool people who are around you. A little awkward, but you'll be glad you did it. Okay, please wind down your conversations. Grab your seat if you have one. Leo. Raise your hand if you met a cool person. 2 hands if you met 2 cool people. If you didn't raise your hand, leave now. That's not cool, man. All right, having a good time? Good. All right, so we're going to try something new. We're always trying to get better and see what we can do to give more back to you guys. So Leo reached out about this app that he's putting together. He works at Amazon, but he's putting this cool app together to get people to connect. So we're giving him 3 minutes maximums. You got it down. It's going to be fast, right? All right, so tell him how this works and go do it.
Sounds good. All right, guys. So now that you met a bunch of cool people in the room, it's time to put that cool to action and get together in person. So we made Dappler to fix what you see in your everyday life and what social tech has done for us. And you see a lot of people on their phones a lot. You see a lot of people scrolling their news feeds instead of getting together in person and doing these cool things. So Dappler, in essence, is an app that reduces friction in you getting together with other people. So you tell us who you want to get together with and what you guys want to do, and we pick a time and place for you guys to get together. So those 2 cool people you just met in the room, you can get together with them after this event and talk about what you talked about today more in depth and help each other out, like the community aspect Brett was talking about. So what I'm doing today is I've got 6 $10 gift cards to Starbucks. We want to buy your first coffee for when you get together with other people. So the first 6 people to schedule 3 events on Dappler will win the gift cards. So just come up to me and show me the events you've scheduled, and I'll hand them out. So the use case is pretty straightforward. You can download it from the App Store. It's DAPLR, as it is up there. After you set up your account, from the top right-hand side of the app, you'll be able to scan each other's QR code, and it'll sync you guys up. And once you send each other an invite, it'll pick that perfect time and place for you guys to get together. So we think it's the perfect use case for communities like this one that are for helping each other out after and post the event. And I'm looking forward to what you guys do when you get together in person. Thanks for the time.
Thank you, Leo. So stand up if you moved to Seattle in the last month. So most of them are in the back with their hands up. You guys didn't come sit down. Okay, so, wow, that's a lot of people. Okay, usually I might have to go out more than a month, but now there's a lot of people. So usually we just have you talk for maybe 20 seconds, say your name, where you came from. Okay, let's do it this way. If you think you moved here from the furthest distance, raise your hand. Okay, so you people, I want you to each, we're going to play a little quick game, see who's moved here from the furthest place. We've literally had Siberia. We've had Iceland, we've had Berlin, we've had China. But, okay, so you folks want you to just really quick say your name, where you came from, why you came to Seattle, or if there's something we can do to help you out. So if you're one of those people, we do the first 5 people, then that's funny. So the people in the back are raising their hand, the people who are up here are no, man, that wasn't me. All right. This is your chance. People can see your face. Somebody might hear something go oh, you're from Minnesota. I was from Minnesota. I'll come talk to you. So if you want to connect with people, this is your chance for the first 5 people. So raise your hand. All right, so we're going to go front to back. Okay, go. No, stand up. Use your outside. Okay. I realize I'm a little older, so a lot of people here don't have kids. If you have kids, you understand. Use your outside voice. Yeah, you could do that.
I'm from Siberia, too.
I could tell from your accent. That's it? No, it was your name, where you came from, why you came to Seattle, how we can help you out. These mics tend to kind of go up and down, so let me switch out.
So this state, I think, is the best state in the U.S. So I've been traveling through U.S. from California, Florida, and this state has the best fresh air. So yeah, I love the trees, I love the nature, and yeah, I'm a product manager and also I'm a startup entrepreneur. Thanks.
Hi everyone. I'm originally from Taiwan, and I just graduated from SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design. So I've just moved from Savannah, Georgia, here like less than a month ago, and with 2 master degrees in design.
Show off.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's time for me to find a job right now.
You know what the number one job is for people in Seattle with 2 master's degrees?
I don't know what.
Barista.
Yeah. So I do user experience. Yeah. So I have 2 tags here. So I'm job seeker, and also I'm a partier here. So I'm finding a UX design job here. So if everyone have any opportunity, I would be interested. Thank you. Yeah. So,
That's what it's all about. Thank you, sir. All right, 3 more real quick. Whoever can get Holly's attention.
I'm Maisulu. I am originally from Kazakhstan, and I moved to Seattle 3 years ago. Right now, I'm doing a data science boot camp, and I'll be graduating in 2 months, and I'm looking for a data science job.
Now, I don't think I'm from that far away. My name is Emily. I'm from Boston. I moved here a month ago. I'm currently wrapping up a contract. I run UX at a mid-sized agency in Boston, but I wanted to live here desperately. Never been here, moved here. So now I'm here, and I'm looking for my next opportunity.
Welcome. Okay, 2 more. All right, use your outside voice. Holly, can you hit the button and try to get it to come back on?
Hi, I'm Vic. I'm from Miami, Florida, originally from Venezuela, but I moved from Miami a month ago. I'm a software engineer at Amazon. I brought my wife and 2 young kids. I've done a lot of different things. I've been a high school teacher, stockbroker, door-to-door salesman, and I'm a software engineer at AWS right now. Excited to live in the community and meet people.
Awesome. See, interesting, cool people.
Bienvenido.
Awesome. All right, one more. Somebody closer to the front that got missed.
I don't know if this is going to work. I think it will now.
Let's open. Oh, sorry.
That
was okay. Hello. Okay. Sweet. So, hi, I'm Abi. I come from Singapore. I just graduated from Purdue University, and I'm here thanks to my first job. And yeah, I'm just looking for people to meet up with.
Cool. All right, welcome. Thank you. Okay, we also like to connect you guys to resources that are in the community. Are there 2 or 3 people that know of any cool events coming up in the next week or so that you would share with your colleague, your neighbor, or someone like that? Doesn't have to be tech. It could be like an art walk or something, just something you think is cool happening in Seattle, because we know there's lots of things happening. Go ahead. The what parade? Oh, so it's in Wallingford. Okay, cool. All right, there's 1, 2. Seafood Fest in Ballard is happening this week. Whoa, Ballard and they're kind of going head to head. Wallingford, go ahead.
On July 20th is the community celebration for the new Seattle City Lights substation.
July 20th, Seattle, City of Seattle substation.
Food trucks, music, and all kinds of community celebrations.
Okay, cool. All right, thank you all. We have a community event calendar, so it's free to put up your events. You can go up there to go find cool things to go do if you're looking for good things. We also have a lot of resources on the website under connections, and under community connections, we have all these different categories, things from co-working spaces to my favorite, P&W awesomeness, experience of greatness, which is basically just all sorts of things from like restaurants to things that are quirky you never heard of in Seattle to go do on a Saturday. So if you're looking for cool, fun Seattle things to do, that's a good place to go check out. You've been to the website, you've seen it, there's lots of different things on there, and we do our best to give you guys lots of resources and connect you to other cool things in Seattle, tech-wise and community-wise. If you want to connect with people outside of the physical events, on all the social channels, like I believe everyone on the planet is now. And now we have finally come to what you came here for. Would you like to see some awesome diversity in tech presentations? You will not be disappointed. So the way this works is the presenters each have 5 minutes. When they get to the 4th minute, then Holly is our timekeeper. Holly's going to raise her special finger. Raise your special finger. Your special one. Good. Nobody did the other one. Okay. So that lets them know. So when she raises her finger, you raise your finger, and that lets them know they have 1 minute left. And then they go into 3 minutes Q&A, or they can kind of go over that time. So this kind of keeps it fast and fun, lets you know what they're up to and the cool things you're doing, and you get to see their faces. So if they are good people for you to connect to, or things you'd like to share with them, or things you could learn from them, then once they're off stage, you can go and talk to them to learn more. So without further ado, we will kick it off with Christy. No pressure. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Christy Johnson.
I turned on my LinkedIn too, if you don't want to type all of that in, but I'll put this down here. So it's great to see all of you. Christy Johnson, I run a group called Pacific Northwest IDEA. It's very much grassroots. Hey, I see like Mara and people who are in the group. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about it because we're always looking for new people to participate. And part of the genesis for this group getting together was if you look around the Pacific Northwest, we're going to tell, if you look around the Pacific Northwest,
There's more networking at the end, so please be quiet so we can give our attention to the presenters. Thank you.
Okay, so if you look around the Pacific Northwest, and we're a very progressive area, there's lots of people with master's degrees, highly educated, but the diversity that we see in our government, in our for-profit companies, and our nonprofits doesn't mirror society. So we're like, that's puzzling. Let's do something about it. And so that's what this group is meant to do. My person from Boston, we actually looked at Boston, which is one of the cities that's actually made some progress on this, and people there were really great in talking to us, and they said, you need to get people from the federal, state, and local governments, nonprofits of all sizes, small, medium, and large businesses, and then funders to get involved. So that's what this group does. It meets once a month. I want to give you a little bit of data because I'm a giant nerd. So I'm going to give you a teeny tiny bit of this and then tell you about ways you can get involved if you want to. So really this whole idea is, wouldn't it be amazing if this was a region where people could thrive regardless of their gender, their race, their socioeconomic status, their sexual orientation, all sorts of other things, and it isn't right now. So that's the ideal vision that this group has. And then, there's some research that we've done, and then we also will comb through the meta-analyses. So if you're curious about something, you can bring it to the group and say, hey, I've been wondering about X, Y, and Z. So for example, something that actually just released today in the Stanford Social Innovation Review was around internships, because people were sharing in this group during the sharing time that there's quite a few companies in this area who do unpaid internships. And we're like, that doesn't seem like it's very equitable, right? Because only certain types of people from certain types of families can afford to do an unpaid internship. And they're really important for a whole host of reasons. So the research is driving like what it is that we do. And sometimes we won't know the answer. So that's when this group will get together and put together a small task force and comes up with things that might matter. Part of what's behind this, I know there's a lot of words on the slide. I didn't follow the requirements. But I wanted to orient you mostly to the bottom. So this comes from some interviews with diverse people in places where you wouldn't expect them. So venture capital, private equity, C-level leadership, board members of publicly traded companies. Again, like typically not diverse at all. But for the people who made it through, we did these long interviews and then coded them, or a bunch of PhDs coded them, and we were looking for pivotal moments. And then these are things that the group ends up talking about. So you can see on the bottom, it's kind of financial wellness, which most kids' spending habits are set by age 7, for those of you who are parents in the room, going all the way up to executive sponsorship. So is there somebody who puts your name in the hat for a board position? Because that's typically how it happens. And so giving you a bit of a sense for what the format of the group ends up looking like, we meet once a month for about 90 minutes. It's at Weber Shanwick's conference room at 818 Stewart. And there's a host of things that we do. So the 3 goals that we're striving for are illuminating best practices, things that are working. We've also done some data collection in a few special cases. A second would be around support. So I think this is most people's favorite part of the meetings, where people come bring a challenge that they're dealing with diversity, equity, and inclusion to the group, and then the group will problem solve with them. And then the last part is around educate. So that might be where we delve into a topic. So everything that's shared stayed confidential, and we've had some crazy stuff shared. I mean, like one would be, and I won't go into specific details, but to give you a sense for how the group can support each other, you know, a woman at a major company who runs the ERGs, she found out from National they're actually getting rid of all the specific ones and going to just like one, everybody all together. We won't have female focus, or we don't have with different races. And so the group helped her think through how she could message that to her team in a respectful way. Similarly, people from the governor's office will come. They often have really interesting data, and they will say things like, gosh, we don't necessarily know the best way to present this. So will you take a look and give some suggestions? The answer was infographics. So there's some things like that that end up happening, and there's really cool people in the room as well as connections that are made. The last thing I'll leave you with, I might get through this pretty quickly. The group is doing, they want to do a project. And so this was this idea of, could we get a diverse group? Because it is, right? I mean, the government thinks really different from the nonprofit folks, really different from the funders, and then the high-tech companies, or if you get somebody from a completely different industry, the conversations are fascinating. So we decided to do a project, and this first project is focused on a concept called micro-volunteering. So we've done some surveying, and we actually found, and we originally were thinking it might be people who are new to the region, because Seattle is kind of a hard market to move into, some of you might find. Hopefully not. But you know, being involved in your community can be a great way to meet new people. And what we found when we were interviewing is it's a small percentage, it's like 5 to 10% of folks who are involved in volunteering. But all sorts of organizations want help. And then at the same time, it's hard to find something that can take only an hour or two. Like, let's say that's all you have to give. And you won't believe how many times people said soup kitchens. We're like, soup kitchens are fantastic, but at the end of the day, is what you're able to offer, does it equal the magnitude of the problem? And maybe you're a data scientist and you could help a company look at their data, a nonprofit look at their data, or maybe you're really good with digital marketing and you could help them there. Or honestly, like sometimes some of these nonprofits are doing really, really good work, need a financial model or a cash flow model. So are there ways that people can give their skills and their talents in a meaningful way in an hour or two a month? So that's what the current project is. If you're interested, hit me up, because we need like 1,000 people to let us know how they think about volunteering and where they look, and if this concept of micro-volunteering is even interesting. If you want to join the group, it's open to everybody. We don't exclude anyone, and it meets monthly, and the next meeting is coming up July 25th. So with that, I'll open it up for questions, right? 3 minutes? You have any questions? Yeah. What's the name of the group again? Pacific Northwest IDEA, so inclusion, diversity, equity, and access. We think all 4 are really important. Yeah. Micro-volunteer, yeah. Yeah, well, it's this whole idea of like, if you actually do a scan right now, let's say you want to get involved and volunteer. There's big projects you can take on at sites like Catch a Fire. Those are cool, right? You could be a board member. That's a pretty big commitment. But what if you just want to give back for an hour or two a week? How do you find an organization that needs some help? And how can we make sure that they can deal with only an hour or two? And there's all sorts. I mean, K-12 and post-secondary, honestly, like they really want industry folks to come in and speak. Like that's an easy thing that you can do. So trying to make it easier to connect. And then we're obviously testing everything right now and figuring out what's going to look like. Yeah. What else do you have for me? Yeah. What's your background that drew you to lead this group? Oh, what's my background? Do you look up on LinkedIn? It's super random. I was a public high school teacher, economics and math, actually really focused on getting diversity into those fields because they're 20 years ago, I was like, oh, they're going to be super important. Quickly realized our public schools have a whole host of challenges, was doing work around Washington State, which this state is really different if you get outside of the Mount Rainier circle, and a little bit internationally as well. So didn't feel equipped to have systematic change at like 24. Went back to graduate school, did 2 masters. Didn't work as a barista. And then I actually went to a consulting firm called McKinsey, so was doing growth and innovation strategy, which I loved, but honestly, like when I had my daughter, the model's really, really hard if you have children, and you want to see them. So hopped around and followed different McKinsey alums in operating roles. And actually, one thing I should add is while I was at McKinsey, they were doing their research on diversity matters, centered leadership. And it was great. It was really important. And I also felt like they were missing. They're kind of looking at the upper ranks, but they weren't going all the way through the pipeline So I decided to start Artemis 4 years ago, which is the day job, strategy consulting in the mid-market. Never thought I'd start a company. That's a whole other story that I can tell you all over coffee sometime. But this was really like, I love this region. I think there's so many amazing things about the Pacific Northwest, and there's really cool people that work here, and we have progressive roots, and just wanted to be a catalyst. And I tend to, my background all the way through has been, can you get people to take a few small steps, and can you make sure it's grounded in the research, and then support them so we're all learning? That's what I love about this community as well, right? Like, we might as well help each other out, especially on a topic like this. So that's a little bit of the background.
One more question.
One more question. Got anything for me? You're being so nice. Oh, yes, one more. Yeah, no, we totally did. And then when we surveyed K-12, post-secondary, and the nonprofits, 2/3 of them said they'd prefer time than money. And they had a list of things that they wanted, which is absolutely the skill set that people here have. It's data science, cybersecurity, programming, tech, AI, ML, digital strategy. So we decided to go more with that angle. And we'd heard, and when we did a bit of a scan, it seemed like there was more going on in the micro-giving space. So we were like, well, what about the micro time giving, the micro volunteering? So let's go there. Okay. So that was wonderful. Thank you. It's good to see all of you.
So one other thing about Christy is we all, raise your hand if you've ever been in meetings that suck. Okay, I'm surprised it's not everybody. Christy is an amazing facilitator. So if this topic does interest you, this monthly meeting with the groups is one of the most productive 2 hours I've ever experienced in my life, because it's just very productive on multiple levels, for the people to connect with each other, to learn things, and the companies who have an issue that need to get help from it. It's very structured and fast and very helpful. So if it does speak to you, I'd highly encourage you to talk to Christy and learn more about it. So our second presenter tonight is Harini Gokul. Please welcome her.
Hello, it's so, can you guys hear me okay? I feel like I'm starting with the, can you guys hear me okay? Oh, this is better. Awesome. So I can say that having been part of Christy's group, I can vouch for everything that was just said. It is an incredible group of people, and especially if you're new to Seattle, Siberia, or otherwise, this is a wonderful table to get around because you just meet folks you wouldn't normally meet. So you have folks from government, you have folks from public sector, folks from private companies. So I highly encourage checking it out, and you get to do good, so why not? I'm Harini Gokul. Thanks for the introduction. I've never been here, and it's my loss. I wish I had discovered this group when I was new to Seattle. I'm in the tech business, like most of you, like many of you. I invest in startups, and especially female-founded startups, and it's really the second hat I'm wearing for the conversation today. I wanted to share a little bit about how my thinking on diversity and inclusion has evolved over the years. I started by pretending it didn't exist and that I was like everybody else, and it would just sort of all work out to where I am today. And why now? We've been talking about it for 20 years. Why do we care, especially now? Why is it code red now? And I want to share a little bit of my learnings and the questions I asked, and hopefully it'll provoke questions in your head, and there'll be some actionable things you could do as you go back into work. So where it all started, I was coming back from a conference in Europe, 2016. It was one of these echo chambers of women leaders, all going, rah-rah, we are awesome, look at the progress we've made, pat yourself on the back. I'm sitting in the lounge reading an article, and it's about this MIT researcher who worked in the applied media labs, Joy. You guys know the story? Then I'll cut it short. So, turns out Joy was building a facial recognition software, and she realized that the model did not recognize her. but it recognized her colleagues. The colleagues were lighter skinned and male. You guys know how this happened, right? The model was trained based on sort of male, lighter skinned images, and as a result, could not recognize female images or darker skinned images. That got her mad. She does wonderful work. It got me mad. When I get mad, I do something about it, and I started thinking, talking about it, because for someone like me who left an arranged marriage in India to come and have a whole career, I'm a nerdy engineer, to think of a world where you may not exist, or where my biracial child may not be able to see himself in a future model, is a very real and scary thought that needed to be addressed. And that was powerful motivation for me to start thinking about why and what could we do about it. And it's important now because we're in the middle of what I call, what the World Economic Forum calls the fourth industrial revolution. And it's a fancy word to say there's a whole lot of innovation, it's happening so fast, and the change is going to be compounded. We've seen change before. The steam engine happened, electricity, we all lived and worked through the third information technology revolution, right? A desktop in every home and all that. The wonderful news is it sets us up. An army of robots walking in and taking our jobs? Not really, but there is some of that, right? Automation is a reality. The real conversation is the convergence we are at. For the first time ever, the boundaries between physical, digital, and the biological world are blurring, right? The car is the ultimate electronic device. So then the conversation becomes about not just technology. It was driven by technology, but the conversation is about what are the human impacts. What are the societal impacts? What does trust mean? What does data mean? What does data privacy mean? Is my data mine? Is my data yours? Does it belong in a data center in Ireland? Perhaps, right? And what does ethics mean? Who gets to monetize my data and what do you use it for? And that's the change that I feel strongly about. I know there are others who feel strongly about it because like all disruptions in the past, there is an incredible amount of upside here. Every revolution brings with it jobs and economic opportunity. So we want that for this one. But we also see a potential where the gap could widen between the haves, the have-nots, between genders. The wage gap is widening as one example. So what's the solution? Thinking about human and equity-centered design. How do we design for a society that's based on the human experience? And more importantly, how do we design very intentionally for a diverse and inclusive environment? We've been doing diversity training for, I've lost sight, for like the 20 years that I've been at work. Tell me somebody who's not done diversity training. Put a hand up if you've not done it. This is how bad it is, right? We all do it, but at this point, we have to train our models, we have to train our data to not have the bias that we have unconsciously within ourselves. So what I'll end with is, there are lots of different conversations you could have, but individually, and for the companies you work for or you lead, there are three things. One, think, introspect, and think about your culture and the purpose. In this era of change, companies with purpose are likely to do better because they are going to ask the tough questions that talk about ethics, that talk about how data will be used, and whether we are carrying through bias. Second, the thinking around people. Thinking about reskilling, skilling people, thinking about the education model, right? You may not, 2 masters is always nice. I have to tell my mom that I didn't, there are folks who will not, you may not need the second master's anymore. But thinking about education in a new way, a 4-year degree is necessarily not the only way to get to the future of work. So how do we look in untraditional places? How do we look for untraditional people? And how do we look for untraditional competencies? Third, for everyone here, you are here, and that is a symbol of position, it's a symbol of power, and it's a symbol of privilege. Use it. Be an ally at work. When you see underrepresented teams, when you see people of color, when you see a point that needs to be made, help make that point. Use your voice for impact. Thank you. Do we have time for questions? Okay, questions?
We got it all figured out.
Okay. Oh yeah, we have one. So I did 15 years of building businesses for Microsoft and IBM. I'm transitioning to a company on this side of the lake starting the fall. Yeah, and I do this. I invest in female-funded businesses because you have to walk the talk. Talk is cheap, walk is hard. If you have the money to support a fellow entrepreneur in a space that's needed, go invest that money.
You spoke of filling that diverse funnel and doing things differently. What kind of things that can we do differently as recruiters and HR folks to help our companies find their talent?
I love this question. I had a conversation with Maggie right before this. So I'll say two things, and each one of these is like 2-hour sessions. The question was, we spoke about filling the diversity gap by hiring untraditionally. How would you go find that diverse talent? Sure. And I'll say there are 3 things, right? There is, what are you looking for? How do you go look for it? Third, how do you pick? And the 4th piece, we won't get to it, is once you hire, the real job starts of making sure that person is set up for success and they thrive in the environment. But what you're looking for, most of us, including me, start with a JD full of the skills and capabilities we need. Let's start with the job that needs to be done. Research has shown that when you start with the job that needs to be done, you're more gender blind. You tend to talk factual skills that are required as opposed to adjectives. So here is an example. When you see a sales role, a lot of sales roles, the adjective aggressive will pop up multiple times. Forceful, driven. These are all adjectives that skew towards one gender versus another. So you start there. You start by saying, let me take out my unconscious bias by writing the job to be done versus filling it up with capabilities that reflect a previous world. Second, when you hire, use your ERGs, use your community, seek non-traditional ways. Community colleges are a great way to go. Community resources are a great way to go if you're volunteer groups. Don't always go back to the schools that you've always hired from. Use those as well, but expand your net because especially in the 4th revolution, you need skills that are not taught behind a school desk. You need curiosity, you need reasoning and critical power, right? So these are skills that you can find regardless of the degree somebody comes with. Did I answer? Did we get there? Okay. One more? Yes, please.
I've been asked to start a women's group at our small startup, and I'm concerned about it being a lot of rah-rah and not action.
Yes.
Any advice as to what we can do to have it be actionable and not just rah-rah?
Yes. So let me start by saying that one, I never used to do these talks because you cannot have sometimes I'm the only in a room, in many places, in planes, in rooms, in boardrooms, wherever. And you cannot have the only also carry the burden of agitating and advocating, which is why I end by saying you need to have allies who can support you so you're not out there on your own. So one, I struggle with the idea of us being signed up to do D&I work. Second, if yes, then check the tone from the top. I find that seeing is believing. There are companies where diversity and inclusion is a true priority, and you will know it in a couple of ways. One, by the CEO and the C-level stating it in their priorities. Look for the publicly published documents, board calls, the calls on street, you should see them. Second, follow the money. If you don't have a budget, don't do the job. They need to put money so you are set up for success. Third, it cannot be a hero effort. You need to have a community come together to help support you. Fourth, you need to know what the outcome is. How do you know you're successful? Most folks, in my experience, it's easy to do it because it looks great. It's a great check box, and for many large corporations, you need to tick the box to get to the sort of the corporate vice president level, right? Don't fall into that trap. Ask the questions, and then take the money and use it for all the right things.
So one thing I'll mention that I actually learned from one of our previous events was, and of course, we know that usually the people in this room are not the people who need to hear this. So a lot of times it's the people who aren't at these kinds of things, and you have to kind of find a way to get it up the ladder in those companies. But one thing I haven't heard that often, and I've actually only heard it once or twice, that people don't seem to think about is that if you really want to hire in a diverse way, there are places where diverse people are, but the people hiring don't go there. The hiring people go look on LinkedIn, and they look on Indeed, and they look for resumes, and they go look for what they want. They don't go to a community gathering that might be on a Saturday, or there might be cultural places they could go to actually meet these people. So that's actually one great way to go find people if you're not finding them through the traditional means. So our next presenter is Mara. Please give her a warm welcome.
Thank you so much, New Tech, for having me. So my name is Mara Cardenas. I have she, her pronouns, and I'm excited to be here today. And I've only got 5 minutes, so this is going to be a challenge because I tend to be long-winded. So here we go. So there's 2 pictures. Do you believe that both of them are me? How many people know who the person is on the right? So that's Beyonce, and that's kind of like my alter ego because I really look up to her. Honestly, she's an awesome mom. She's an awesome businesswoman, and she can totally dance way better than I can. But a little bit about me. So I work with King County Metro Transit. I'm a senior HR advisor. I've also stood in the role as the Acton Diversity and Inclusion Manager, Talent Acquisition Manager. But I started 16 years ago as a work study student or an intern, and that's a program for low-income people who need help with tuition. And so that's how I got my foot in the door. How many of you all have rode a Metro bus with the show of hands? So almost the whole entire room has actually rode on a bus. We are one of the best transit agencies in the world. I'm a little bit biased. Give it up for Metro. And so we have a ton of operators, and that's where you see the most diversity is within our operator classification. When you get on the bus, you'll see a black man, an Asian man, I mean, all kinds of races. But when we move up in the organization, there's a lot less diversity there. But wait, there's more. So what that means is that in addition to our operators, we actually hire for a lot of different positions. We hire project managers, engineers, mechanics, transportation planners, admin specs. And so I want to put it out there. Go to www.kingcounty.gov/jobs if you're looking for employment and see what we have to offer. So there's my plug on that. And in addition to DEI work, my regular day job is actually a talent acquisition manager. And so I lead a small team. I post job announcements. I screen applications. I facilitate training. And so I wanted to talk with you all briefly about some of the work that we do to advance diversity and inclusion. And so in all of my job postings, I add D&I as one of the job duties, and then also list that in the qualification section so that candidates are actually measured on their ability to interact and engage with the diverse population. And then also in the interview questions, I make sure that we ask a question related to D&I on the interview panel, and that prior to doing the interview process, our hiring managers go through a training on bias awareness and whatnot. And if they try to get past me without a question in there, usually I put it back in there. And then we like to have racial diversity when you go into the room, because it feels really awkward already. You're nervous when you go into the room, but being a woman of color and going into a room with an all-white panel, that's even more awkward. And so I like to request or add that, is there any person of color that you could have participate on this panel? So why diversity, equity, and inclusion? What's the business case? So we all know that it's a good thing to do, but I think it's a great business thing to do, right? We found there's numerous studies that are out there that talk about the value add of diversity as far as innovation, as far as problem solving, as far as engaging and interacting with our customers. There's so many reasons to have a diverse and inclusive workforce. And then HR on 3. So you guys have to rep for HR. So 1, 2, 3. Oh, that was weak. 1, 2, 3. Yes. So I have this slide in here because a lot of times the finger is pointed to HR or to the DEI group as far as that's your job. We're not hiring people of color. That's your job. That's your responsibility. Why aren't you doing anything? And so I want to argue that it's not just HR's job. It's not just the DEI group's job. It's everyone within this room's job. Because you, as people employed with organizations, you're walking advertisement, right? You make it what you determine whether or not someone's going to want to come work for your company or not. And so just take some personal ownership of DEI. And then outreach and networking. So I'm big on that. That's one of the things that I actually find joy in. And so I'm taking every opportunity I can to get out and engage with folks. And these are some of the avenues in which I go about to get candidates. So like you see Eventbrite, you're like, what does that have to do with anything? Or how many of you all have used these? Show of hands. Yeah, so each month I go online, I go to Facebook events and I see what's happening. I go to Meetup, I go to Eventbrite, and I say, where can I meet my candidate pool, right? So it's thinking outside of the box and finding your candidates at random events. An example I have is there was a HBCU event, and so the college admission staff were there looking for talent or for students, and I thought, oh, I need those students to come work for me as interns. And so they were looking for the students to come to their school, but I was looking for the students interested in HBCU schools to come work for King County. And so I took my little niece with me. We walked around to each table and asked students, what are you looking to do? Are you looking for a job? Do you know anyone in Seattle? And so we just kind of took that ownership of that process. And so these are just a few photos of some of the work I've done. On the left, that's the PwC law firm. They had an ERG meeting, Employee Resource Group meeting, and just going to these events and meeting new people and making those connections. There's a workshop I facilitated with the Museum of Flight, with the iFly program. Another workshop I did with the Katie Hall Foundation. She's great. And so it's thinking outside of the box. Again, my role is in HR, but I'm passionate about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Some additional roles. So Future for Us, it's a phenomenal organization. It's geared toward professional development for women. And so we had a collaboration between Amazon, Microsoft, some other companies where we gave back to over 300 women of color on their professional development. And then that's me at Amazon partnering with the Rainer Scholars Program. And so we help coach those students on their resume, on their LinkedIn profile. And I'm not going to get through this presentation. I tried to talk as fast as I could. And so how many of you all have seen this slide before? Not too many people. So what you see on the left is equality, and that's giving everybody the exact same thing. And as a recruiter, that's what we try to do. We want to be equal. We want to quickly just shoot the job out there. But what I'm finding is that equity is actually needed, right? And that's giving people what they need to succeed. So one of the examples of how that's played out is, a lot of our operators don't have email access. And so what we do is we have the email that goes out. We get that printed out so they actually have access to that. And then another example is that with our ERG groups, I'm hoping to work with those groups to bring development opportunities as far as training for interviews. And so this is the slide to tell you that there's no excuses if you're a software engineer, if you're admin spec, if you're in finance, there's something that you can do. Like those students in those classrooms could totally use you in that classroom, sharing your story, There's some people at my job who work with the teachers as far as developing content, like all hands on deck. I don't think anyone from this room could be excluded as far as giving back and furthering diversity, equity, and inclusion. And then I'll end on this note. I want everyone to close their eyes. And I want you to think about yourself as a child and the first time that you felt excluded. Think about where you were at, what you were doing, how you felt. That time where you felt like, I just don't belong here. Like, these are not my people. Everybody's staring at me. I feel really awkward. And so you can open your eyes, but for people of color, people who have a different sexual orientation, people who have different religious beliefs, when they come into work every day and there's a ton of people that don't look like them in the room, that's kind of what we experience every single day. That feeling of, I just don't belong here, right? And so each of you can make an effort to be more inclusive with the people you interact with the people in your office, to say, you want to come sit by me, or do you want to join us for coffee, or so-and-so would give a really good input in this meeting, so let me invite her in. Like, you have work to do, pretty much. It's not just on HR, it's not just on the DEI professionals, so I'll end. Questions for me?
I have a question.
Sure.
So when you apply for a job at King County, do you just scan it in and look for keywords, or you actually look at the resume?
So with King County, what we do is we use filters. And so usually we'll filter with the supplemental questions. So we do that, and then we screen it down, and then we actually deep dive into those applications. And then prior to forwarding them to the hiring manager, we redact the name for my work group. We redact your name and your address before we send them to the subject matter expert, which is what we call a SME. So that way that eliminates some of that bias in the hiring process. In the back.
Thank you so much for sharing all the different ways you're thinking out of the box to do recruitment. And I'm wondering what things is King County doing to also make sure that the space that we're inviting folks in is like a welcoming, safe space.
Right, right. The fact of the matter, we're a huge organization. We've got over 15,000 employees, and so each employee's experience at King County will be a little bit different. But some of the things we are doing is we started our employee resource groups, so that's an opportunity for people to come together and do that. And then also in the performance evaluations, people are getting measured about diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? There's different sessions that occur. We have our ESJ strategic plan, but the fact of the matter, we have a ton of work to do as far as inclusion, because diversity is the easy part, but actually getting people in the organization and allowing them to promote up, which reflects inclusion, right? That's the difficult part, because when we look at the top 20% of the income earners within our company, it's not very diverse. And so there's a ton of work to do, but we're taking these baby steps. Sure. So an example could be, tell me about your experience working with various backgrounds, or tell me about your knowledge of white privilege. Like, I've actually seen that on a question. I was like, yes, it's a leadership question. What else do we ask? So something, it's a tell me about question, right? And it's looking at your ability to engage with various backgrounds. It's your awareness of diversity, your awareness of equity. Have you went on our website and actually looked at it and looked on DEI? So questions around that. We actually have a document with a list of questions that we can choose from. Yeah. Any additional questions? In the back. They were a little shocked. They were like, because I have an associate that redacts the information. She was like, you know, I can't see it. But now they've kind of gotten used to it. There's been a little bit resistance, but that's the route. We explain the why, right? When you see a name, you're going to think, oh, this sounds like a black name, or oh, this person sounds Asian. And so we had to explain the why. And if anyone is disgruntled, they haven't had the courage to actually come up to me and tell me. They don't want none. No, I'm planning. Yes.
That's coming from the government. Do you suggest the private sector sometimes do that occasionally
Mhm.
and pull information occasionally.
Right, right. This is something that Metro Transit has taken on. So across the county, not everyone is actually doing that yet, but I think there is value in redacting those names and the address and whatnot. We haven't moved as forward as like schools and whatnot, but that's the hope. And then you have to have the staffing to do it. So I know in NeoGov, which is the applicant tracking system that we use, you can select an option to actually remove the name, and then someone has to go in and actually, with Adobe, do the resumes and cover letters. So it adds maybe, I don't know, I should have a conversation with the people that actually do it. Like, how much time are you spending doing that? Yeah,
One more question.
right here. Right. So it's a system, we use NeoGov tracking system. And it could be something as simple. So on a posting, they list, this is just for me, right? Other recruiters may do it a little bit differently, but on the posting, they may list min quals. So it's just a matter of you checking the boxes that say you meet the min quals, right? So that's a pretty straightforward, right? And that's usually what I use it for. So if I have 300 applications, maybe I'm down to 100 that I actually have to go in and manually review. Yeah, thank you.
So our final presenter this evening is Caitlin Ramirez from Getty Images. Please give her a warm welcome.
Hi everyone, my name is Caitlin Ramirez. I'm a software engineer at Getty Images, and today I would like to share with y'all what I've done to be successful and to make sure I have a good network at my job after I have a job. Part of the inspiration for this talk was I went to Ada Developers Academy, and any 80s in the audience? Woo! That happens to be my little sister. And got my first job after graduating from Ada Developers Academy, loved it, and then the unexpected happened. We were acquired, there were layoffs. Oh my God, what do I do? And so while making the most of it from my job, I saw my friends who were laid off or friends then looking for jobs, the different techniques, and what was useful. And so I wanted to share my personal philosophy and what was helpful for me. I like overviews, and I want to just share a quick one. I'll share a little bit more about me, who your best advocate is, and that is you, and finding advocates at work. But first, a disclaimer. This topic is too vast and too nuanced to appropriately talk about in a short presentation. Every individual has their own unique traits that make every interaction different and impossible to provide general recommendations. To loosely quote Olivia Fox Cobain in her book, The Charisma Myth, how Bill Clinton would approach a problem is vastly different to how Bill Clinton would approach a problem. Or how Ariana Huffington would approach a problem is very different from Ariana Grande. How Season 1 Daenerys Targaryen would approach a problem is different from Daenerys in Season 8, #worst Game of Thrones season ever. Our personality and life experiences shape our decision-making and conversational style, and each style has their own unique strengths that we simply don't have time for tonight. So,
I'm sorry, your 5 minutes is up.
oh, yes.
Just kidding.
So, a little bit about me. I have an interesting background. I've grown up with a lot of people asking me, what are you? My name is Caitlin Ramirez, and people put me in boxes. Are you Indian? Are you Hispanic? Do you speak Spanish? Just what are you? Where are you from? I'm from Florida. I'm sorry. And I also grew up in a place, Florida, where North Florida specifically, where people put themselves in boxes. They identify strongly by the church they go to, what they wear, what car they drive, the political party that they're associated with. And unfortunately, people just understand boxes. But I want to tell you tonight that you are so much more than a box, and don't let other people put you inside boxes. For a majority of my life, I worked so hard to try and find the box that I fit in neatly. But don't do that. And if you are doing that, challenge yourself. Break free from the box. And just to be clear, what are boxes? Boxes are assumptions or stereotypes that you may hold about yourself and others. So, by breaking free from boxes, you will understand yourself so much more, and this is where you are your best advocate, because someone simply does not understand you as well as you do. And becoming more in tune with yourself, we're all human beings, we all think about ourselves a lot. By training our self-attention to be our best tool for self-improvement, you're going to be unstoppable. And every interaction that you have with others, you will gain so much more out of it. You'll transform thoughts from being like, for example, for me, I shouldn't have said that. Oh no, oh no, how do I feel? Oh gosh, I'm really anxious. To this quote that I like that I hope is actually from Bruce Lee. To know oneself is to study oneself in action with others. And that's really helped me transform from any anxious tendencies of, oh, did I say the right thing, to, oh, that was so interesting, and I just learned something about myself there, and oh, next time I'll do this, or oh, I'll have to follow up with that person. And a lot more self-constructive and positive way of doing things. So my personal challenge that I'd like to share with y'all that's been helping me a lot is journaling. It'll just quickly writing down the thoughts and emotions that I catch myself going through in a workday, and it's helped me tremendously. For example, realizing what are my goals, which change sometimes on a weekly, monthly basis, what's blocking me from my goals, and then that then helps me to share with my manager or coworkers who can then help me grow in the ways that I want to grow. Or just little things like, gosh, I get hungry at 11 o'clock, I need to stop waiting until noon to be as productive as I can be possible. So I would like to share that. That's been helping with me, journaling. Oh, awesome. So another quick disclaimer, I'm running out of time, and I want to share how you can find advocates, but this is the tricky part. Our work environments are completely different. Your coworkers are completely different. So really, this deserves a nuanced approach on how to do this at your workplace. But speaking in broad, sweeping terms, I work at Getty Images, insert inspirational image. Finding advocates at work, my personal challenge and what's been helping me the most, I've done a lot of reading, and one of the old podcasts that I really like to used to listen to was called The Art of Charm, just to help improve, like, okay, getting up on stage. Don't be nervous. Okay, how do you just not be nervous? Practice, try it. Talk to people. Oh gosh, I think I suck at talking to people. Start small. So, to finding advocates, really, you will find that when you may need something, it'll come from the most unexpected places. So everyone you should just talk to, and without any expectations of them, just see where things go. Life is mysterious, works in strange ways, and by having an open heart to everyone that you meet and being as earnest and true to yourself as possible and seeing people as true to them as you can be by not having boxes, I believe, and it's helped me so much, get so much farther in life. So just a quick recap, try and have a growth mindset, learn a lot about yourself as possible, meet people, ask for help, and like our prior talks tonight, practice building bridges. Any questions? Yes. That's a great question. I also want to give a shout out to a coworker that I have here too in the audience, Andy, who getting to know Andy has been fun. It's come in random places. We played a Nintendo Switch tournament together and complaining about Game of Thrones. And so it can start from the most small, random things. So because of that, I haven't had to urgently go to Andy for anything yet. Watch out, Andy. But it helps me create a bond. And I think not going up to someone saying, will you be my mentor? I advise against that. And it's really easy coming from at least the school, the boot camp I went to, where it's really taught like find a mentor, and a lot of articles online too. Find a mentor, find a mentor. But what does that mean? I say kind of what's helped me is forget that language. Just get to know people in whatever ways that you happen to connect and just see where that goes. Yes, hello. Wait, what did you never hear before? Oh, ADA, cool. Oh, yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, sure thing. Thank you so much. So, ADA Developers Academy is a nonprofit year-long boot camp for women and non-binary people and trans folks. It's here in Seattle, and it's a 3-phase interview process. And when you're admitted, the first 5 months are being trained in Ruby and JavaScript, and then the other months, minus 12, are your internship with sponsoring companies that sponsor ADA, and that's how the program is funded. Any more questions? I saw a TED Talk where it says to ask, what are your questions, as opposed to do you have questions? What are your questions?
How did you come up with that Rust Concrete?
Oh, my dad is Puerto Rican and my mom is Indo-Guyanese. So, yeah.
Rice with curry.
Yes. Hey.
As a person who is recently, I don't know if you can still consider yourself a junior, how far along you're in your path, but as somebody who myself is more like later in career, what are you looking for or what do you think you were looking for, maybe you could ask your sister, in that, from a junior employee perspective? Again, I don't want to put you in a box.
Oh, totally good.
Mentors, like what would be helpful to have from mentors is my question.
I'm just going to, I think, just run through all my favorite things that people have unexpectedly done for me. Sometimes just sitting at my desk, staring at my computer, like I don't know what a computer is anymore. And then just someone, maybe like in your role, just coming by and like maybe they're even running to a meeting, like, hey, you got this. Or if they do have time, hey, I don't know what you're staring at or where you're at right now, but let me know if you need any help. And they'll be like, for me, sometimes I have a hard time asking for help, and I may just say, oh, okay, oh gosh, that's so kind, thank you so much. And so people who I've really appreciated too, saying, knowing that about me, going, okay, tell me about it right now. And I'd go, oh God, okay. Other things I've really appreciated are consistent meetings if the person has bandwidth. And they don't have to be long at all. Even 15 minutes a week is so great just to have that support. I think that's a great thing that I've been very lucky to have, especially coming from ADA Developers Academy, is it has a support group. There's 48 classmates per cohort. And then there's the network, the companies that sponsor ADA. Getty Images isn't the company I interned with, but they're also a company that sponsors ADA. And so I was very lucky to be at a company that also sponsors my school. And so to recap, without losing myself, I would say just touching base, offering support when you have bandwidth, and if you can have consistent meetings with them, that'll be really helpful.
One more question?
Cool.
Thank you. So one more round of applause for all our presenters tonight, please. And thank you all very much. If you had a good time tonight, you like what we're about, if you'd like to connect through presenting, sponsoring, or advertising, you can reach out to me. We can tell you more about those things. If you are looking for a job, we do quarterly job fairs, usually about 25, 30 companies, and between 300 to 600 candidates show up for those things, and they are fun, and people get jobs. So the next one's in September, if you know someone who's going to be looking for a job around then. Our next event here is August 13th. Our Seattle events are the second Tuesday of each month. East Side's the third Tuesday. Next week it will be in Bellevue at eBay. And Tacoma we do quarterly, and this is one of those months, so Tacoma is actually tomorrow night. Oh, wow. You know what? June 25th probably isn't the best time to go. Oopsie. Yeah, being human is our first core competency here. So, missed that one. So East Side's the third week of the month, so next Tuesday. If you're there or know someone who you think would enjoy being a part of the community and connecting and learning from cool people in the community. Finally, if you have you had a good time? Cool. So I want to say, especially since there's a lot of people here who haven't been here before, you are New Tech. New Tech are the people in the community who come, share who they are, they're curious about other people, and are coming with a give first attitude because, you know what, at the end of the day, everybody just wants to be loved and understood. And especially the last few years, obviously things have gotten worse and annoying, but we won't get too far into that. It's really important to be human and connect with people. And a little bit goes a long way. I'm grateful. This is my company. I've done this full time for 4 years, and it's been around 7 years. I only exist doing this because the community supports what I'm doing. So I'm grateful to all of you for choosing to come be a part of the community, because it helps us to create something every month that allows people to come be human with each other, learn, and have a good time. So thank you, first off, for being a part of that. And if you would like to spend a little more time with the people in this room, you can walk right down the street to Art Marble 21, and your name tag actually will get you 10% off drinks, maybe food. I think food, I'm not positive, but definitely drinks. So keep your name tag. If you'd like to go and talk to people a little bit more, head over there right now. We are finished, and we do rely on volunteers to help us set up and break down. We don't have as many to help us break down. So if you have a chair and you can move it over to the side, we'll bring out the chair racks, and that'll help us a lot in trying to get the room back, because we have to put the whole room back together for co-working after this. So thank you all very, very much. We appreciate you spending your time with us. Have a great night.
If you want to stack the chairs in piles of 7 and not higher, that would be helpful. Thank you.